Hey guys, Kev here, and I have a battle to the death. Sorry, I mean blade battle for you. So this here is a blade battle of two larger knives. Now these are both right-handed knives technically. One is much better for the lefty folk like me, but of course, I am your objective host today for Blade Battles. This here is the Koenig Knives Arius. This is designed by TJ Schwartz and made by Bill Koenig. And they are in Idaho. It's a badass knife. You guys may have seen a few on my channels already. I have tried a few times on this knife, guys. I want to love it, clearly, right? So I keep buying it. But it just hasn't grabbed me yet. You know, if I was right-handed, I think I would really like it. Although I do think the hole is a little, it's not the greatest hole in my opinion. But hey, what are you going to do? Then we have the Brown Knives FSD. Well. My new favorite knife. Love this knife so much. I haven't even done the full review yet, but I've had this for, I don't know how long I've had it. It's been at least a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, I think. I don't know, but it hasn't left my pocket since I got it. And I can pretty much tell you it's just utterly fantastic. I wish it was a little smaller and had a sheep's foot blade, but, can't get everything you want in life, So anyway, there's your intro for the blade battle. I think I'm going to try to start doing my videos where I give you like an intro, then I splice in the intro reel, and then I go back to the video. That's what I'm going to try to do. So I'm either going to end this here and do that and start a new video, or I'm just going to be like, boom, magic, and then I'll add it in here. So, boom, intro coming at you, baby. All right, so we are ready for the blade battle. Let's get out our scoring sheet here, guys. All right, so first off, honorable mention to the Billet Spin Cam Pen. So cam as in C-A-M, cam pen. Has a cam in here that drives the tip out. Very interesting. It's a little different than your bolt action pen, but also very similar because you have a thing that goes, basically side to side. Bolt action kind of goes down and over, and that's what locks it in. But I really like this thing. It is a little bit heavier up here than I like, but guys, for most of you, I think this is great. I mean, it's lighter up here than a lot of the bolt action pens, so I can tell you that much. So anyway, I'm testing this thing out because they sent me one to check out, and I may do a full review on it, but I don't know. I'm just not I did like a 20-minute unboxing, so what else can I learn, I don't know. But anyway, so this is the Battle of the Guillotines. And yes, I did not check my spelling. I may have spelled that wrong. I know for damn sure I spelled aesthetic wrong. I don't know. That word sucks, all right? Where do you put the TH and where do you put the just T? You gotta think it out in your head, and I wasn't gonna look it up. So anyway, we got our codes, our oh my god, dude, what am I? Categories. So we have materials, we have price, we have perceived value. So if you want me to break this down, materials is obviously the materials going into the product. Which one's better? The price, obvious. Perceived value is a little different than price, right? Perceived value is like on the secondary, how, much is this worth versus that. Like, for instance, my Oz Roosevelt price would have been, maybe $850 new, but perceived value is like $1,300 right now. So there's a little bit of a difference there. Aesthetics, then we have my normal sort of full review stuff. Aesthetics, ergos, carry, cutting, sounds, action, fit and finish, and lastly, leftability. And this is what I always say, guys, if you're right-handed, feel free to remove this category and just, add them up as is, and whoever wins for you, maybe, my video. Obviously, yours is going to be all different, but you get what I'm saying. If you're not left-handed, I guess this category doesn't apply is what I'm saying. You know, but it's just me, you know. I'm a maniac. I'm doing the video. All right, here we go. First up is materials. Let me get a sip of my drink. I got my LaCroix Tangerine, my favorite. One of my favorites. By the way, I did just sell this. Sorry to anyone who has been asking. A guy hit me up and asked if I would sell one. And I don't know. It just kind of happened. So if you had asked for me to sell you one of these, I apologize. I wasn't trying to be a dick. I just totally, you know, guy asked and I was just being nice. He was a cool dude. So anyway, and I had just bought all this shit. So need to recoup. Materials. Let's start off with the Brown Knives FSD. These are very similar, by the way. Well, not really. Titanium, obviously, right, with a backspacer. So full construction there, three-way construction, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, a steel button there. And then we have 154 cm steel on this blade. Now, I do actually have another one of these coming that I got on the latest drop. I got lucky there again. And that one is in 20 CV steel. So once that comes in, these will be pretty much identical because the Arius here is also titanium with a backspacer, heavy milling inside, just like this. There's no button, obviously. It's a lock bar, but it's a steel insert. So there's your steel. And then this one is 20 CV. That's kind of the thing that makes this a little bit special, I think, is that this is a 20 CV Arius. So, but for the sake of this video, this is in 154 cm. So I guess I have to say the materials are better on the Arius. So we shall click our camp pen over and we shall give the Arius a point and not a point. Why am I? What's the point of putting a 0? I don't know. Whatever. Just going to put a 0. Price. So this guy here was 800 bones, 775 as is, and then DLC hardware, which is 2 screws, was 25 bucks. So 800 bones. This was with shipping and everything. I think this was $708 from Urban EDC Supply, which I got this on their latest drop Wednesday. So I got lucky twice this week. In 2 days, yeah. I hope I get lucky tomorrow with the Oz Roosevelt drop lotto. So, yeah, this one is cheaper, I guess. 708 versus 800. So, the Arius is kicking some ass right here. Now, I could tell you the difference in that price is going to be Koenig is a shop. They have employees. They have multiple machines running, you know what I mean? So yes, they have employees, so they got to pay people, but they have all that equipment and everything to bring down the cost, speed up production, so to speak, right? This is made by a guy in his shop, right? Like, I'm pretty sure Craig Brown is on his own, you know what I mean? So it just makes it more of a custom. I would compare this more to like the Roosevelt or something like that, right? Maybe even like a Trevor Burger or something, where this is more of a actual production knife. I mean, I know it's very high end for that, and it is closer to these and like the Rosie than I would say any production knife is. But technically, it is a company with multiple employees, multiple, you know, machines running and all that stuff. So that's why they can keep the price down a little bit. They're pumping them out. You know what I mean? Relatively to this. You know what I mean? He's dropping like 8 of these a week or something. So anyway, next up is perceived value. And this one, I think I'm going to give it to the FSD because the Arius, while very, very popular, holds its value extremely well, right? Like, you'll never lose money on an Arius if you buy it, you know, retail. You'll never lose money on an Arius. More likely, you'll make some money, right? This one right here in 20 CV, textured titanium, satin hardware, or silver hardware, satin blade. I think on the secondary is probably worth like $900, $950, something like that. I am actively trying to trade this for something like a Rosie something cool, like another Evo 2.0. And I have it at a trade value of $1,000 right now. And I told you what I paid for it. So, and normally I'm not the guy who adds value to a knife. Whenever I sell one, I normally never do that. Always sell it for less. But, spending a lot of money lately. Maybe I can recoup some. I don't know. But anyway, a trade is different. So, the FSD here is $800 to start. And they are really hard to get right now because there aren't many out there. There's like, I don't know, 25 of them or 30 of them or something out there at this point. This one is number 8. You can see there, this is number 8 here. I'll show you a close-up on the knives. Number 8 right there, and 154 for 154 CM. And then this guy is, can you see in there? Gen 4 batch 9. So this is, I think, a new batch. I'm not sure. Anyway, I think the perceived value would be higher on this. I think if I threw this up, basically that's what perceived value is. I think if I threw this up on Facebook or Instagram for $1,000. All right, sorry, my alarm went off on my phone for the Oz Machine Company Lotto, which is actually tomorrow, not on Sunday this week. So anyway, this happens all the time when I'm recording. Anyway, what I was saying was if I threw this guy up on Facebook right now for like 1,000 or 1,100, I'm pretty sure somebody would pay it just to get one, right? Where this is $700 new, and I could probably maybe get 1,000 if I really pushed it. You know what I mean? And I may try to do that, but I'm probably gonna get more for this. So I think the perceived value, because this is rarer, basically, it's more rare. Sorry, it just is going to win that category. So, anyway, subjective opinion. I'm an idiot. Anyway, 1 for FSD, 0. All right, now we're into the normal categories. Aesthetics. So, this one is crazy. So, both of these, in my opinion, are good-looking knives, right? The FSD is just gorgeous. These milling patterns that Craig Brown does is just amazing. I love the pivot. This hollow grind is ridiculous. And look at that belt satin right there. And that fuller. I mean, it's just a gorgeous knife in my opinion. And then you have this clean show side, right? And you have a button over here. Nice DLC hardware. The clip that basically disappears into the handle. I mean, look at that. Has a little flat underneath of it, right? Then you have the Arius, which is just basically at this point, like, I don't know, America's knife. You know what I mean? I said this the other day about the Axis lock being America's lock. Well, the Arius might be America's knife if you spend money, right? So it's hard because you guys know I love a hole in the blade shape, or in the blade. I love a nice clean aesthetic. I love this texture. But at the same time, I really like the uniqueness of this knife. I love a drop point. I'm more of a sheep's foot guy, but visually, I think a drop point is sexy, right? Might be the sexiest. Just works really well with the design, in my opinion. Man, this is tough, right? I think I'm going to give it to the FSD, and the reasons are, as much as I love this sort of kind of humpy thing going on here, the flipper tab and this lanyard thing, post, whatever you want to call it, kind of kills it a little bit for me. If this was more clean, like if it was a non-flipper version, and it kind of, I don't know, if they could have done something here, they kind of like, when it comes to blade to handle ratio, the Arius is pretty terrible, honestly. Like, look at that. You could chop off like an inch. To me, that's like killer. And then, I don't know. So anyway, I love the Arius in terms of aesthetics. It's never going to be like, ooh, it's an Arius. You know what I mean? But the FSD is just like, damn. As soon as I saw it, I was like, damn, what is that thing? And I had to get one. And I did. So I'm giving that one to the FSD. 1-0. Ergos. So, the FSD is just so comfortable. It's such a neutral handle, sort of. I think got a little swell, I guess. But you could grip it back here so comfortably. There's no hot spot. That clip just disappears. And then Of course, you have what I love, a finger choil. And man, can you grab up into there, choke up, get up onto that knife. Now, it's huge, right? That helps. Big knives are comfortable because they're big. You got a lot of room to, grip. So, man, I really, really like the ergos on the FSD. The Arius is one of the most comfortable knives ever in this back grip. It just really is. It has that just comfort to it, and I love that it has a ramp that is usable. There's nothing worse than a knife with a thumb ramp that doesn't work. Like, you're already up here. Like, why do you have a thumb ramp then? Then it just feels awkward because you're like on top of it, right? But the fact that this does not have a choil kind of kills it. And I am getting pinched a little bit down in this area. I don't know if that's just lefty, maybe right-handed. Yeah, see, right-handed, I don't really feel that. If I bear down a little bit, do you see any marks or anything? Let's try this. Bear down. Nothing crazy, just a little bit of red, right? Like, obviously, I'm gripping down hard. Yeah, nothing. It just feels really, really comfortable. They both feel great, guys. I think the deciding factor for me is just choil or no choil, right? Like, with the FSD, I get two options that are both comfortable. So I'm going to go with the FSD on ergonomics. FSD is starting to charge ahead here. Carry. So this one's an easy win for the FSD, guys. You can see right here, it's not a deep carry clip, but it goes to about here. And this clip works extremely well. Look how wide it is. It just spreads that tension. It's just beautiful, this clip. It lands on a ramp under there. Look at that. Not a ramp. It's got a flat spot all along underneath. This is thought out, guys. Very, very well thought out. I've carried this for a week and a half or whatever straight, and I have never once been like, damn, I got that knife in my pocket, And it's freaking huge, guys. I mean, this is bigger than the Arius, and the Arius is already a pretty big knife, right? Well, yeah, that's the thing. The handle is about the same on the Arius, maybe even bigger, but the blade, you get more on the FSD. It's 3.8, that's 3.5, I think, or 3.6. So, again, kind of showing right there. Now, maybe cutting edge is the same, but either way, look at this clip. Just look at that. You have that much sticking out of your pocket. Now, it wasn't, like, deep on this, but it's only that much right there. You only have that much sticking out of your pants. It's not like, and it's really flat, kind of, you know what I mean? Where this is like that much, and it's just like this lanyard thing, and it's sort of like a pokey triangle. I don't know. It just doesn't carry well for me. And then the clip itself feels really tight. And you see how it kind of drops right into that relief cut down there shortly after going into your pants. I noticed that I kind of had to give it like a shove. I had to get it in and then give it an extra shove down because it would get caught right here. I don't know if I can demonstrate. Let me see. I know people are probably just like, you hate the Arius. I don't. I want to love it. I do. I want to love it. So here, let's just demonstrate. So it's bunching up. Now remember, these aren't jeans, but it's bunching up. I'm stretching it so it's tight. Got it. There. Okay, and what happened on my jeans was it would get to like here, and I think it would catch on the end of this relief. And then I had to give it the extra to get it. And there you go. That's what's sticking out of your pants right there. All right. It's a very shallow carry. Now here is the FSD. Let's see if this, look at that, just glides in. Boom. You tell me. You tell me, okay? Now, granted, this isn't like deep carry, but it's definitely better, and it just rides better. I mean, it just carries better. It's the best way I can put it. So now let's try this trick. Can I get them to wiggle off or anything? I don't want to bang them together or anything. That came out easy, even easier. So I'm not saying the Arius is a bad carry, by the way. Devo Hank right here. If you pre-ordered one, you were one of the first 100. Boom. I'm not saying it's terrible. It's just not as good. This is fantastic for a huge knife. That's the best way for me to put it. Is this like the Gungnir? No, it doesn't carry that good for a big knife, but it carries very well. Cutting. So this is where I'm going to be careful, guys. You know me, and I'm not the cutting expert, right? And these are both expensive knives. And if I have something else in my pocket, I will use that, right? Like, it just makes sense to me to use a cheaper knife if I have it. If I don't, sure, I'll use this all day. And I have used it just to try it, right? Like, I've cut some paper, cut some cardboard, and it's fantastic, guys. I love this thing. This is a hollow grind that is just ridiculous. You won't be able to see it, but it's just so good. It's a hand-ground hollow grind, so slim and slicey. And the ergos are so good, you could choke up and use it. Cut open some packages, cut a little bit of cardboard. I mean, nothing crazy, but it cuts fantastically, right? The only concern you might have is this fuller, like, would something get in there and whatever. I didn't have that issue with anything I cut, so, like, okay, is that me, or, okay. I was gonna say, like, what's going on here? There. So, I mean, it's just super slim or thin behind the edge. Just cuts really well if you're not an idiot. Right? And it sounds loud like that because it's got this crazy hollow grind with this belt satin on it. That belt satin is just loud. Like, you hear that? That's just me dragging my nail on it. So imagine paper cutting through it. Now, the Arius. Here's the thing, guys. I don't think I've ever cut with an Arius, unless maybe I cut with the one that Jake loaned me a while back. So I know it has a hollow grind. It's not nearly as deep as this hollow grind, but the edge feels a little cleaner. Yeah. So right off the bat, initial like sharpness from factory. Like, watch. Let's just try this again. I can probably just slice right through this, no problem. Right? See if I can do that with this. See how it, like, I don't know what that is. Like, it's not, I don't know. I don't know if there's something up with the edge. It feels super sharp. Like, I don't know if it just needs to be touched up or, but when you get it on the right spot, I think it might just be the way I'm entering the cut. Like, because you can see there when it cuts great. And there's no damage to the edge. Like, if I do a full cut, nothing, right? Like, it's not hanging up or anything. But I don't know. This just seems to bite in and cut a little bit cleaner, if you know what I mean. So, I don't know. It's hard to gauge because I haven't actually used the Arius other than what I just did. And I've cut packages and stuff with this, and it's fantastic. So I don't know if that just, like, the apex of the edge there is just not dialed for paper cutting, which, you know, other than the tip, I don't need that. But I guess I'll give it to the Arius just because of what we just saw, right? I don't know. I wouldn't gauge anything I just said about either of those, though, when it comes to cutting from what I said. Sound. Okay, so, again, this is a hands-down win for the FSD. Now, the Arius is no slouch. I mean, it's fantastic, right? Sometimes it sounds like a shotgun coming out. But this it just crushes, right? I mean, like, there's not much more I can say than So sounds easily go to the FSD. Action. So, action. So the Arius has an excellent detent, right? Excellent detent. I mean, just for the flipper, it's dialed perfectly. Now, for the hole, I would say it's a little too tight for the hole. It's a little too strong for the hole. You could flick it down at the bottom of the hole, and it's a little easier for you, but, I mean, it's still a little tough, right? The right-handed thumb flick works. You need to make sure you're not on this lock bar because it will suck, because this hole is kind of sharp. But you can thumb flick it there. Obviously, righty reverse flick, really good, right? And it's a right-handed knife, so that's all I'm gauging it on at this point. Nice jimping on the flipper tab. Shoots out of there. But I do think the D10 is a little strong for the reverse flick. Then you have the closing action. Here's your lockup. Fantastic. It will drop, and it will drop. It is a guillotine of all proportions, right? That's what it's known for, having fantastic action, so everybody loves about it. It's got nice, thick blade stock, keeps it, makes it drop real nice. Sorry, that was me. So, action is phenomenal on this knife, right? Really, really good. But, one thing I do want to note is it does have a little bit of take up. Like, I have to nitpick here, guys, because I'm doing a battle here, but you can feel a little bit of take up. You see that? How it's kind of moving in there, and then it comes out. I wouldn't call that detent lash. I would just call it a little bit of take up because it doesn't feel sloppy or anything, right? Now, the FSD. The detent on this flipper tab is so good. I mean, when I first got it, I thought it was too stiff, but it's either broken in or I've gotten used to it, and it is just so good. I mean, listen and watch. It just fires. There's no failing this thing, right? Then you have a reverse flick because you have this fuller here. Boom. And the detent for both is dialed. Like, it doesn't, even though it has a really strong detent up here, like strong to a good extent up here, this doesn't feel too strong like it does on the Arius. On the Arius, that reverse flick just feels really tight, like it wants to rip your finger off sometimes, right? And that could be partly the hole design. I don't love it, but just look at this, right? Then you can thumb flick, no problem. You also have jimping up here, which wasn't meant to be front flipped, but it works really easily. And you could front flip. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 deployment options. If you want to count a slow roll, you have 5, right? Which is, more. Oh, actually you have 6 because you could button it out, I guess. Yeah. Then on the close, I mean, that's me, sorry. What beats a guillotine? Right? I don't know. A fucking ridiculous guillotine? Like, there's no play at all. And that thing is just dropping like nobody's business. I guess what beats a guillotine is I don't know. I had something funny there and I lost it. A bouncing guillotine? Something like, I don't know. But anyway, it's absolutely fantastic. I just love the damn thing. And the action, to me, is better. I mean, as hard as it is to say something's better than the Arius's action, it is. Like, you just saw it. So, action goes to the FSD. Fit and finish. Okay, so the Arius is extremely well done in terms of fit and finish. I mean, you can see the centering to me does maybe ever so slightly to the clip side. I mean, I don't think it is. I think it's centered. Very nice texturing. The milling in there, the back spacer, it's just gorgeous. The blade, I do wish they did a satin blade instead of these stone washes and then satin up here. It is better for like wear and stuff, but I don't know. I love the pivot design. I love how they have this whole see-through through the clip. Obviously, the fit and finish on this is astounding, right? I do wish it had a detent ball ramp on this one. Maybe it does, but it's not very good if it does. I don't think it does, but maybe it does. Although it usually just passes right over it anyway. But I do notice left-handed, sometimes it kind of wants to kick back. But a detent ramp, I guess, wouldn't even help that. So it would make it worse. So anyway, fit and finish is incredible. Now this, I mean, it's just as incredible. This kind of has those hand touches, though. But they're like machined hand touches. I don't know how to explain that better. The Arius is fantastic. So is this. It's really hard for me to sit here and try to say that one of them's fit and finish is better than the other. You know. So I think what I'm going to do is just call it a tie because I can't really pick one, to be honest. So I'm going to give them both a point, I guess, for that one. Leftability. So this is where the rubber meets the road, my friends. The Arius just is not lefty friendly, guys. As much as I've wanted to love this knife so much, I think there's more than just the leftability thing to it. I think that's what I've finally learned with this last experiment, is that it's not just that I can't reverse flick it easily. I think it's the hole shape. I think it's the detent being a little too strong for the reverse flick. I think it just shouldn't have a flipper if you're going to do it the way, I don't know. I think it's the carry, the way the clip is. I think it's the blade to handle ratio. All of those things are what kind of get me a little bit, right? It's a little thick. It's not heavy, for its size, it's good, but it's a little thick. So I don't know. I think all of those reasons add up to why the Arius isn't for me. But the main reason is the leftability. So you can't just pick it up as a lefty and flick it because you're putting pressure on the lock bar, and that negates the action for you. It puts the detent ball hole farther in and makes it impossible to flick. So if you ride down to the clip, so your finger's on the clip, then you can get it. But again, now you have to fight that strong detent and be all the way down here. And that means I have to flick at the top of the hole, because trying to flick down here like that, and it's just ripping my finger up trying to flick this knife. You can also try to get up here to the pivot and flick it this way, but I just can't get the pressure I need on it. So your other option is to maybe try to lean to this side. Don't touch the lock bar. It's just so hard. So you're stuck climbing down to the bottom here and doing that, right? And it's just not fun that way. So that's the problem. Now, the thumb flick lefty is great. It's really good, honestly. If you're a thumb flicker and left-handed, you might really love this knife, actually. And the flipper tab works great left-handed. Now, obviously, you got to watch your thumb, but I kind of naturally go over here anyway, just from having so many right-handed knives. If you put your thumb there, though, locked up. So, it's just not very lefty-friendly. This, on the other hand, is extremely lefty. It's basically a left-handed knife, except for the clip. So, reverse flick, easy. Look, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. Nothing to get in my way. Thumb flick, nothing. Just nothing to get in the way. Obviously, this isn't designed as well as a hole for a thumb flick, so you got to give it a little something, but it works great. The flipper, boom. There's no lock bar because it's a button lock, basically. It's actually called the brown lock. And then the front flipper, you don't have a lock bar you can accidentally depress or anything. Just flips right out. So this is the brown lock, and basically it's a modified compression lock, essentially. There's a liner, see the screws? Liner in here, and it locks up underneath there. You see that? And then this pushes that tab out of the way, pushes that lock bar out of the way, and it drops. So like a compression lock, once you push it over, it just free falls down. And this is called the brown lock because he uses it integrated with the frame or something instead of what Spyderco does with the stop pin. I don't know the whole thing, but it's ingenious. It's fantastic. It works really well left-handed because it's essentially a left-handed button lock. So if you look at this, this is a button lock ProTech Malibu, and the button is over here because as a righty, you push the button like that and it drops, right? As a lefty, you just use your index finger. And button locks, honestly, are super easy, in my opinion, to operate left-handed. I feel like you get a good grip on it and just do that. So he designed this actually for right-handed people, though. He did it because he thought it was good to have the button be away from your thigh or whatever. Because when you carry it in your pocket with a button lock, the button's over here. And you could accidentally like push your thigh on it or something like that. So he thought it would be better to have the button over here and you could just use your index finger. And honestly, I agree with this. Like as a lefty who has used button locks for a long time, I love the index finger push. So I would prefer to have it like this. But because of the way he did it, it's essentially a left-handed button lock. You just put your thumb here and boom. I mean, it's so good. So the only thing is the carry. But I just carry it... I just carry it in my back left pocket. That's how I carry right-handed knives. So it's fine. It doesn't bug me at all. So this is basically a left-handed functioning knife, not clip-wise. So that obviously goes to the FSD. And now we can add up our points and see who wins the Battle of the Guillotines. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8! Holy cow! 8-4. The FSD just annihilated the Arius. Okay? Now, granted, my video, gonna be subjective, right? But I tried to make that as fair as I could, guys. You know, you could easily, you know, the aesthetics here, you could go either way if you wanted to. Some people think the Arius is the most comfortable knife ever. So there you go. That would get you 2 more points. Then they'd be tied, right? I think. But I don't know, guys. It just, for me, the Arius just does not live up to it for me. Now, the build quality, all that stuff, yes, it 100% lives up to that. It just doesn't work for me personally, and I don't really think it's that much to do with it being so right-handed. Like, I have some knives I make exceptions for. It's very rare that I have right-handed knives that I make exceptions for, but, like, I've always loved Trevor Berger knives, and those are right-handed with a frame lock and everything, and I can't just flick it. I have to kind of lean off the lock bar and kind of like, you know, figure out a way to flick it. But I still love Trevor Berger knives, and I kind of always want to have one in my collection, right? So I do make that exception, but it just doesn't, I don't know. So I think it just has more to do with the knife than it does the lefty thing. And this knife is just utterly incredible, and I think that's part of this too, guys. This knife is just that good. So, I love you all. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.